Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the MLB slate on DraftKings and Yahoo for Monday, August the 19th. We're going to look at Monday's 9-game slate, talk about DraftKings and Yahoo. We'll start off with pitching. I'll be sure to hit on all the pitchers that I like for today. Then we'll look at 3 specific hitters that I really like. We'll talk about some stacks that I'll be going to. And then towards the end of the video, we will look at some BVP plays for those of you that are interested in BVP. But before we do get started, guys, I would appreciate it if you would drop a like on the video. It does really mean a lot, and if you are new to the channel, make sure you click that subscribe button. If you just haven't subscribed yet, be sure you hit that subscribe button before you get out of here. I would really appreciate it. Let's go and look at pitcher at the top on DK. Trevor Bauer is our most expensive option today at home against the Padres. He's $11,700 on DraftKings, and on Yahoo he's at $47. So I think Bauer is the clear number one option today. You just look at the guys that are priced below him. You have Wade Miley, who's in a good matchup against the Tigers, but Wade Miley just not the kind of upside pitcher that you pay over $11K for, especially not on a slate where you have Bauer for a little bit more. So Bauer's clearly ahead of Miley for me, especially when you factor in how close they are in price. Same could be said on Yahoo. Bauer and Miley, just a $3 difference between the two. Then you have Marco Gonzalez in a matchup with Tampa Bay at $10,600. Really don't have much interest in him. Next guy I would be interested in would be Kyle Gibson, $10,100 against the White Sox. He is in a favorable matchup. Gibson, though, has been struggling a bit. I just feel like Bauer's such a safe option here, like the clear number one guy to go to, that I don't think I really am going to be playing a ton of Gibson either today. So if I'm paying up at pitcher, which I don't think you have to today, I think there is multiple ways to go. There's a lot of good expensive stacks you want to get to. The Astros get to face Edwin Jackson today, and the Astros are very expensive. So if you want to stack them, you're probably going to be forced to play 2 really cheap pitchers. And I think the Astros do have the most upside out of probably any team on the slate. So it's not like you need to pay up for Bauer, but I do like him if you can fit him in. 11-7 on DK, 47 on Yahoo. My number one guy here against the Padres. The Padres do strike out a lot versus right-handed pitching. We know how elite of a pitcher Trevor Bauer is, how much strikeout upside he has. He's made 3 starts with the Reds since he got traded. 2 have been really rough at Atlanta and at Washington. But he did have 1 home matchup against the Cubs where he was really good. 7 innings, only allowed 3 hits and 1 run. Got 11 strikeouts. We could be looking at a performance like that from Bauer today against this Padres team that does strike out a lot versus right-handed pitching. Plus, with Tatis going on the IL, their lineup got a lot weaker. You're just not a good, or you're replacing a guy like Tatis with a guy like Ty France. There's 2 completely different hitters in terms of strikeouts, power. Tatis will strike out a bit, but still one of the better hitters in the league. Now you replace him with a guy like Ty France. Becomes a much easier matchup for Trevor Bauer. Ballpark isn't great, but still low total for the Padres. Still a team that strikes out a lot. Really like Trevor Bauer here as the SP1 to go to today. Then at SP2, I think there's a couple guys that you could target for cheap pitching. 2 that I like are Brendan McKay, $7,500 on DraftKings, and John Means potentially at $6,400 on DraftKings as well. On Yahoo, I think the 2 guys I probably am going to go to the most at SP2 are definitely McKay at $35 and Zach Gallen at $33. I don't have as much interest in Gallen on DraftKings because he's all the way up to $9,300. And if you're paying that price tag for Gallen with a guy like Bauer, you're really not going to be able to get in any bats that you want. So for DraftKings, the guy I'm going to be penciling in the most probably going to be McKay at $7,500. On Yahoo, he's the one I want to go to as well. But there are some other ways to go. Like, you could probably pay up for Miley if you wanted to. I don't have as much interest in Miley on DraftKings where he's $11K, but on Yahoo at $44, you could probably still play him with Bauer and get in some bats you want. Means is all the way up to $40 on Yahoo, so don't really need to go there. Gibson at $39, I think, is a guy you could use to pair with Bauer if you want to. But I'm going to save the little bit of salary, go down to Brendan McKay at $35. I do like McKay quite a bit here against the Mariners. Really good matchup. This Mariners team is really bad offensively versus left-handed pitching, and there are a lot of strikeouts in this Mariners lineup as well. It's a great ballpark for pitchers. The Rays are pretty heavy favorites here. McKay at minus 176 favorite. And we just know how bad this Mariners lineup is, how good of a matchup it is for McKay. He definitely has been struggling lately. He's not been great, but some of that has been tough matchups like at Boston. You got to face the Blue Jays, which I would say was somewhat of an easy matchup, and he was okay with 17 DK points. Then he had to face the Padres in Petco. I would say that's probably a mediocre matchup. And he wasn't great, just 8 DK points, but now he gets a great matchup with the Mariners at home. So McKay, a guy I like quite a bit, as an SP2 to go to on DraftKings. And if you want to pay up for an expensive stack, using McKay as an SP1, maybe going like McKay and John Means, I could see doing that today. But let's go ahead and talk about some bats now, since I think we pretty much covered all the pitchers that I'm going to be playing today. Looking at bats, there's a couple teams that stand out. I did mention the Astros, who I like a lot here, versus Edwin Jackson. 6.5 implied run total. Right now, I believe that's the highest on the slate. If you can fit the Astros in, they're one of the top stacks. But if you want to play Bauer, you're going to need to save a little bit of salary. And that's kind of why I like the Twins as a secondary team to the Astros. The Twins have just as much upside, I think. Against Ivan Nova, this is a great spot for the Twins. Nova's just not a good pitcher. He gives up home runs. He doesn't get strikeouts. And this Twins lineup is somewhat cheap on DraftKings. A couple guys that stand out. Polanco at only $4,400. Kepler at $4,600. At the bottom of the lineup, you got some really good value with Gonzalez and Crone both at $3,900. If Jake Cave's in the lineup, he's only $3,200. So I do like going to the Twins today. Crone and Polanco are two guys that really stand out. Crone's probably going to be batting towards the bottom of the order, maybe 7th or 8th. Even if he is, I'll still have him, especially in full Twin stacks. And then Polanco batting most likely 2nd or 3rd at $4,400 feels like a really good value. Both these guys feel underpriced for the upside they have here against Nova. Like I said, Nova just gives up home runs to both sides of the plate, doesn't miss bats. Twins are in a great spot, one of the highest implied run totals on the slate. Not much needs to be said here. I really like the Twins. And on Yahoo, I think they're a great stack as well. Looking at their pricing on Yahoo, you have guys expensive at the top, like Kepler and Sano are both at $20. But then you have Polanco at $13, who I think is probably one of the easier plays of the day on Yahoo. He feels like a great option. Eddie Rosario at $18, I like a lot. Like on DraftKings, Rosario I think is like $4,800. You have Kepler at $4,600. I think given those two, I'd probably prefer Kepler, but on Yahoo, where Rosario is actually cheaper than Kepler, give me Rosario at $18. Then you've got some good value at the bottom with Crone at $9, who I like a lot. Cave at $9 as well. The Twins just give you a lot of upside, and they're a lot cheaper than the Astros. Looking at the Astros pricing on Yahoo, they're very expensive as well. All top 7 hitters are at least $24 or more. You only have 2 cheap plays in Chirinos and Reddick. Everyone else is really expensive. So same thing could be said for the Astros on Yahoo as DraftKings. If you want to pay up for them, you're probably going to have to play 2 really cheap guys probably like McKay and Gallen, which I think makes some sense just given how much upside the Astros have here. But since I do like Bauer and I want to try and pay up for him, I'm going to need a cheaper team, and I think that's where the Twins come in handy. But going back to DraftKings to fill out my 5 plays, a guy that I liked a lot on Saturday, I believe it was. He was dirt cheap. I know he had a really good game. Going back to him on Monday with Trent Grisham at $3,500. The guy still is way too cheap for the upside that he has, especially in a matchup here against Dakota Hudson. Dakota Hudson is just not really that good of a pitcher. He does struggle a lot to lefties. He has struggled to lefties this year. It's not the best ballpark for hitting, but it is pretty good hitting weather, 90-degree temperatures with a lot of humidity. Grisham I like a lot again, leading off, or projected lead off at only $3,500. Grandal at $4K feels like a really good catcher play. Mike Moustakas, whether you want to play him at second base or third base, I think is a great option at $4K as well. Don't really know if I'm going to be going to a full Brewer stack, but if you want to do a mini stack, 2 or 3 mans with like Grisham, Grandal, and Moustakas, or Grisham, Grandal, Yelich, I could see doing that today. I do like Grisham a lot leading off. Guy has some power, he's got some speed, and he's still too cheap for just how much upside he's shown ever since he's been in the majors, especially in a matchup here with Hudson. So going to be going right back to Grisham on DraftKings. One of the better one-off plays of the day in my opinion. And then to fill out my 5 plays on Yahoo at second base, a guy that I do like a lot today is Whit Merrifield. At only $15, I think he's a really good option. Don't think I'm going to be full stacking the Royals just because they don't have that appealing of a lineup. But you do have some cheap plays with Merrifield at 15. I mean, Gordon, lefty, I don't really want to target, but he is minimum salary on Yahoo. Dozier and Soler, I think, are good plays, but they're also very expensive, so it's pretty hard to fit them in. You could definitely go to Cupford at $9, but O'Hearn, lefty, don't have much interest in. Bubba Starling's not a good hitter. Deeney's not a really good hitter. Lopez isn't a good hitter. So if I'm playing some Royals bats, it's really just going to be like Merrifield, Dozier, Soler, and Cuthbert. Merrifield, though, the one I like a lot on Yahoo at only $15. Merrifield's still one of the better hitters in the league versus left-handed pitching. Has plenty of power, has plenty of speed. Means will give up home runs to righties. It is a great hitter's park in Baltimore, in Camden Yards. Pretty good hitting weather as well. 89 degrees, 59% humidity. Surprisingly, the Royals still have a pretty high total, 5 implied run total today. I think I'm actually going to be playing quite a bit of Means on DraftKings where he's so cheap. On Yahoo at $40, Means really isn't in my interest, and actually some of these Royals bats make sense, specifically with Merrifield. But these are my 5 plays for Yahoo and for DraftKings today, guys. Now moving over to stacks before we look at BVP. One of my favorite stacks by far is going to be the Twins today versus Nova. The Twins are a team I like a lot. They're cheaper than the Astros, and they do give you a lot of upside as well, along with the Astros. Astros have to be up there as one of my favorite stacks as well, especially in lineups where I don't pay up a pitcher. I'm for sure going to have some 4 or 5 man Astros stacks. So Twins, Astros, I like a lot. This game in Texas between Colby Allard and it looks like Dylan Peters, 2 lefties. You could definitely target this game for some value. There's a lot of cheap hitters in this game, like Fletcher leading off only $3,900. Renfrigo's $3,200 for the Angels. Max Stassi still feels like a really good catcher play, minimum salary. If you want to target some Angels bats versus Allard, I think that makes some sense. 5.8 implied run total. Going to be great hitting environment, great hitting weather. 100-degree temperatures with some humidity. We know how good that ballpark plays in Texas when it's hot. So Angels bats do make sense. On the other side, you could definitely target some Rangers versus Dylan Peters. The Rangers, though, don't have a ton of righties in their lineup, which isn't appealing because you do want to roster righties versus Peters. But a guy like Andrus at $4,300 makes some sense. The Shields is really cheap. Mathis is really cheap. Forsythe's really cheap. So you could look there, but probably more interested in the Angels than Rangers bats. And then like 2 3-man stacks of the Brewers make sense, like Grisham, Grandal, Yelich, Grisham, Grandal, Moustakas. If you want to do that, you could go there. But I think that's it for stacks for me. I would like some Orioles bats if they were a little bit cheaper. Like the guys at the top of the lineup are pretty expensive. VR $4,500, Mancini $4,900. But if you do want to target some Orioles versus Jorge Lopez is just terrible. I would normally have interest in him because he's so cheap and he's facing the Orioles, but he's just such a bad pitcher that I think the Orioles actually make some sense as a stack given their 5.6 implied run total. And although the top of the lineup is kind of expensive, there aren't great hitters at the bottom of the lineup, but the bottom of the lineup hitters are very cheap on DraftKings. So maybe you could look to guys like Nunez or Peterson. DJ Stewart's really cheap. But yeah, I think that's it for stacks. Let's go ahead and look at BVP real quick, guys, before we end the video. So top of the BVP list, Manny Machado, really good BVP versus Bauer, 9 for 14 with 4 home runs. Matt Carpenter, 11 for 24 with 3 home runs. Zach Davies. Martin Maldonado, don't know if he'll be in the lineup, but he's 6 for 16 with 2 home runs off Edwin Jackson. Jonathan Scope, 6 for 18, 2 home runs off of Nova. And then a couple more Twins have hit Nova well. Castro, 4 for 11. Mar Gonzalez, 5 for 11. But I think that's it for BVP, guys, and I think that is it for this video. Hopefully you did enjoy this video. Hopefully it did help you. If you enjoyed, make sure you drop a like. I would really appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe if you have not already. And if you do have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. Or like always, you can hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT if you do have any questions. But good luck tonight, guys. Appreciate you watching the video. We will see you in the next one.